Due to my background coming under recent scrutiny, although it's not something I hide, it's also not something I brag about. But being that specific people have been circulating my past amongst industry professionals and sharing it publicly as part of their attempt to blackmail me, I'll discuss it now. They initially threatened to expose my background over a year ago due to their unethical behavior towards me and my wife. And only now am I finding out that they have been on a smear campaign the entire time. So everything that they've shared have merely been snippets and legal theories that paint an inaccurate picture of the truth. What they miscalculated is that my story has inspired many people over the years, and perhaps it will serve as an inspiration to many more. When I was a 15-year-old boy, mind you, I'm almost 44. So almost 30 years ago, I played a part in a violent crime where someone unfortunately lost their life, which resulted in me receiving a capital life sentence. In order to achieve the conviction, they violated my constitutional rights 26 times. So we appealed. And the appellate court ruled that I didn't have a fair trial and they granted me a second one. On my second trial, every juror voted not guilty except for one, which resulted in a hung jury. This left me in a tough spot because the first trial cost my mother and father our family home, and my grandmother sold hers to fund my second trial. We didn't have the funds to continue into a third trial. So under the guidance of my attorneys, I pled guilty to a reduced sentence for my role without writing a statement against anyone or testifying against anyone involved. A year later, at my first parole, my release was granted and I was sent home. This process took about 9.5 years of my life. I went in when I was 16 and I came home when I was 25. And since then, I've spent every single moment of my life becoming a better person, a person worthy of the sacrifices that my family made, building myself up in every possible way in an effort to show gratitude and praise to the God that gave me another chance and spared my life. I have not squandered that opportunity, so I will not allow anyone to hijack my story and use it for anything other than an example of what God can do in someone's life. I paid my dues long, long ago, and my greatest accomplishment is the man that I've become. They gave me a life sentence, but God gave me a new beginning. My life is living proof that His plans always prevail. I don't fully understand God's plans for me, but I've been doing my part even before I came home. I went to college, earned trades. I've read hundreds of self-improvement books. When I came home, I immediately went to work at our friend's pizzeria while I completed my associate's degree. I became a small business owner. I even became a recording and performing artist, as rapping was one of my pastimes in prison. When I tried to advance my career, I was often told no. My record was held over my head, but slowly people began to know my character and my work ethic. Eventually, people started giving me a chance. I became a residential estimator, then a tanker truck driver in the oil field. Then I became a supervisor for a multi-million-dollar company in the oil field. At this point, I broke 6 figures, became a homeowner, and had my 2 sons. Then I became a certified crane operator, which required TSA to approve me to work on all of the ports in the country. I even built a successful YouTube channel. A few years ago, I met Natasha, and I was honest about my past with her, and it didn't stop us from developing a relationship where we both knew that eventually we'd get married. We planned every move. Part of that was a career change into real estate. So we submitted my background to the Florida Real Estate Commission for them to determine if my character was sound enough for me to be a real estate agent. After a lengthy process, it was granted. I actually have the video of the hearing, which I'll probably share at a later date. Not only that, the Texas Real Estate Commission also approved me. And to me, this is just the beginning. In no way, shape, or form do I feel that God is done with me. I know what it's like to be under a microscope. I definitely know what it's like to be counted out and doubted, but I also know how to push through it despite it. For someone to weaponize the tragedy that struck my family when I was 15, the same age as my stepson, is just shameful, especially when my accomplishments and my character speak for itself. Over the past year, I've gone to great lengths to disassociate in every way possible from these individuals who once praised me for overcoming such a tragic event, to then watching them stoop as low as to using the same tragedy to poison my name amongst industry professionals. It is an embarrassment, a disgrace, and an insult to everybody that believes in me and made the sacrifices for me to be here, especially my father who's no longer with us, considering that the people that are acting against me are my brother, Jose Chelo Alonso, and his wife, Maria Cristina Alonso.